Well, we have a beautiful day today, so
yeah, absolutely.
great to be out.
This is a lot of fun.
It is. It's cool. Ever since we talked about the Mountaineer Mile, a lot of people have been really talking it up, and you see a lot of the state agencies are stepping forward and starting to walk, and a lot of people around the state are just thrilled because I think folks know we need to get healthier as citizens and as a state. So it's nice to be out on a beautiful day, and hopefully the weather holds.
Yeah, so do you prefer to walk outside or do you like the treadmill better?
I actually prefer to walk outside, but there are a lot of times that when I was Attorney General, I would try to walk inside, and that made a big difference because I think we do need to get out and walk, and I'm trying to find a way to have some of the meetings that I have walk and talk, because it's hard if you're starting early and you're going late and you're in meeting after meeting after meeting. You have to find a way to exercise and be in a good position.
Yeah.
How are you? Nice to see you. Yeah. No, not at all.
So what shoes do we have on here? Like what shoes do you like to walk in?
I'll tell you what, I know that people don't like this. I always say we're comfortable shoes. So once upon a time, people didn't realize this, but I was a runner and I was also an athlete. So I played tennis growing up. I used to run cross country. I wrestled. I used to wrestle 108 pounds in high school, which is pretty unbelievable, right? So what I'm trying to do now, I've always had some foot problems, so I try to wear shoes that won't exacerbate the foot problems because I tore a lot of ligaments and did some damage when I was young, and I used to train a lot. So, now I try to wear shoes that are comfortable to wear, which makes sense. So, usually I get the New Balance, kind of the wider shoes, but it's all good.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about what inspired you to even do this Mountaineer Mile.
I think the most important thing is when you know that West Virginians have some of the toughest healthcare outcomes in the country, you want to do something about it. And diabetes, stroke, congestive heart failure, cancer, all the things that we hear about where we're down at 49 and 50, we have to finally wake up and say, hey, what are the things we need to do to get better? And I know, given some of the choices I've made over time, where I was a lawyer and I was the Attorney General, that I ended up spending a lot of time just working and working and working. And then you don't focus on yourself and your health. And we're still going to have to work a lot, but it's important to take a little bit of the time out and get yourself personally healthy. And I don't know how I could try to be an example for others unless I'm willing to do some of the hard work myself. And that's kind of what caused it, to say, let's try to get everyone going for a mile a day, and I'm going to do my best, knowing that it's not easy, because there are days that's hard. Yesterday was tough. I made it, I got it in, but started really, really early, finished really late. So trying to squeeze a lot of the steps in between.
Yeah. So you talked about this a little bit just now, but you said it's really important for you to also do this with people of West Virginia. How important is that really to you?
I think it helps because I know that I can relate to people that have struggled with weight, that when I focused on working and then I didn't eat right and I didn't exercise as much, that you felt the pounds coming on more and more. So I know I need to shed some pounds, and I'm not afraid to say that. So I think that's important. And there are a lot of folks in West Virginia who want to get healthier. And so they know, if you can say, look, I'm far from perfect, but maybe if I could do it, certainly if I could do it in the position I'm in, well then I think a lot of people can do it. And folks know that's true. And I think there's been a real swelling of support for people just going out and walking a mile and starting to get in shape. And I'm hopeful this can infect every single corner of the state, because if people just take 30 minutes a day and go out and walk and do other things, that could make a huge difference to your health. And I think we'll start with the Mountaineer Mile, and we're going to keep going from there to try to get healthier in a lot of areas.
Yeah, so I know that there's some things coming up with the Mountaineer Mile. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
Absolutely. So we have actually been first working with some of our agencies. So right now, there are a couple of the other agencies that on their lunch hour, they go out and they're walking. I think that's phenomenal. They had volunteered that, our Department of Health, our Transportation Department, Administration. So they're out doing it. And also, we're working with the state parks to have a Mountaineer Mile in every state park, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And as you know, we have some of the best state parks in the country. So I hope that a lot of people have a chance to go out. And state parks are pretty close. You can always find a state park fairly near where you live. that's another option for you. So I'm thrilled about that because people are excited to get out and walk and exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talked a little bit about shedding the pounds earlier and just having unhealthy eating habits. What is like the food for you that really gets you?
I'll tell you what, so I always enjoyed pasta. So I grew up and I used to fuel that up because everyone always used to say, look, to be a long distance runner, you'd want to fuel up on the carbs, right? If you go on a 15, 20 mile run. And so that's what I used to do. But, look, as time goes on, you realize, hey, maybe you should be focusing on more lean foods and maybe cut some of the desserts. And so I think that I love cooking out on the grill. And so you can cook a healthy chicken or a healthy steak. And I think that's a great thing to do, or a burger. But it's just trying to make sure that you're eating at the right times and then bringing that exercise in every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know last week RFK was in Martinsburg with you, and that was a really big deal. How exciting was that for you, just to have like that big of a spectacle of an event?
Yeah, I think it was incredible. So first of all, it was fun, and we were joking back and forth. I think anyone saw that knew that I was busting on him a little bit because he had talked to me. He said, I could be your personal trainer. So I said, all right, sign him up. And he is. He's going to be a personal trainer. That's incredible. And then from there, we're talking a little bit about the importance of West Virginia leading, because I know West Virginians are incredible people and they've worked so hard. And now I think there's an opportunity to help show the country, hey, this is what West Virginia is all about. We're going to start to do something about some of our statistics in healthcare. I think he was pretty excited about that. And I think it's great to have an HHS secretary who's on West Virginia's side. And that's why it was so much fun, because all the back and forth, I think, was in good humor. And I never took any offense to any of the stuff that was said, because, look, I'm a guy that if things are true, then you can't really attack it, right?
Right. So when RFK Jr. said those things to you, was that kind of just fueling some fire in you and encouraging you to get out here?
I think it was long past time, because I gained a lot of weight as the state attorney general, as I worked really, really hard. And so I think it's just a realization that, as the governor, you have to provide a good example. And so I know how hard it's going to be, because it's a lot easier to put the pounds on than to shed them. But I do remember, back in the day when I used to run a lot, when I played tennis a lot, and I used to bike and get out everywhere. I used to hike. That's actually how, when I first moved to West Virginia a long, long time ago, I used to hike on the Appalachian Trail and spend a lot of time in the great outdoors. I had a canoe and a kayak, and so I used to go on the lake or go on the river, and that was pretty incredible. And to think, well, wait a minute, that was 20, 25 years ago. You can change that and you can get back in shape, and that's the hope, that you can start to do that. And just like anyone, you want to make sure that you're going to be around for a while and be around for your family, for your friends, and certainly for the citizens of the state.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like we said earlier, you've been doing this for 5 days now, right? This is 6?
I think it's the 6th day, yeah.
6 days, okay.
So we've hit at least a mile every day, some days a bit more than that. But I figured set a target that I think everyone can hit. And if you don't hit it, that's okay. Work your way up to it. I think it takes time. Some days are harder than others, but I think if you set that as a goal, then pretty soon a lot of people say, wait, I can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, like 6 days, that's not a whole lot of time, but have you felt better over those 6 days?
I think it's a process. It's beginning. Right. It's still been long hours of driving up. I drove back from the Panhandle the other day. But I think anytime you exercise, you feel better. I know I was starting a bit in the fall before I've always had a bum foot, so I've had to kind of nurture that a little bit. But I know when I did it in the fall, I started to feel a lot better, and that was good. And so I'm hopeful now that with the foot injury, hopefully a little bit behind me, that I can actually get out and be in a position to keep doing it for a long time. Because last time, after about 3 or 4 weeks, I could really start to feel better. Your air was getting better. You're feeling just so much better every single day. A little bit more spring in your step.
Yeah. So what is your advice to some of the people in West Virginia? Obviously, we rank pretty high up there when it comes to obesity rates of people who are overweight. What's your advice to them to get out here and just take the first step in getting this done?
I think first I would find a place that you like to walk. It could be outside your house, It could be in a local park. It could be in a state park. It could be down by the Capitol. Find that place where you enjoy walking. Maybe you run into some people and just try to get in a pattern, same time every day if you can. I know that that's been my biggest challenge, right? Because you wake up early, you start going to the office, or you're doing reading, you're working. You got to figure, well, what time is the best to do it? I think if you can pick a time and stick to it, that's probably the best thing.
So obviously the legislative session is going on right now. Just give me real quick a brief update on how you think things are going, how satisfied you are with things, how they're going.
Yeah. Look, I think that the legislative session's a process, and it starts, and people are feeling everyone out at the very beginning. But I think it's going to come together. We're going to get a lot of really big things done.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. We just had the universal licensing bill passed, so that's going to come to my desk. That's a really impactful bill. I think it's going to drive a lot of new workforce participation in our state, which is pretty incredible. So we need bills like that in order to advance our standard of living and spread out the tax base. So that's a big deal. We had our microgrids bill go through the House. That was a really big deal too, because that's probably the biggest bill that could bring more wealth to our citizens with the kind of investment we're seeing in these data centers, that we have a chance to finally take advantage of our energy resources and add value close to the source. So I think people are really excited about that, because that's how we could end up wiping out the income tax and doing really the kind of things that are going to help our citizens for a long time. So I think that we're on track to get huge things done. And a lot of times people speculate and they don't really know behind the scenes, but for 60 days. And so a lot of the bills we're working on, whether it's permitting reform, make it easier for businesses to locate, or universal licensing, or data centers, we're trying to work on the fundamentals in West Virginia. So that's a better way than just throwing money at these companies. That's what they did in the past. I don't think that works very well. I think you create a better business environment, and it's a lot easier. So that's what we're doing. They're starting to really react and move as we're getting to the end of the session. So I'm really excited about closing out on a strong note, and looking forward to working with everyone in the House and Senate.
When is your favorite time to walk? Do you like to walk in the mornings, in the evenings, or just whatever works best?
Historically, I used to walk at night, and in fact, when I was really working out a lot, evenings I would work out, or I would bike and walk, and then I'd usually go back to work and work deep into the night. But I'm going to try to change it up a little bit here, and hopefully I can get a few steps in earlier, make it a little bit easier throughout the day, because there's just so much stacked back to back when you're the governor. So, but this is cool. It's really nice to get out, spend time. You know, we live in the most gorgeous state in the country, so to be able to take advantage of it and visit every county and visit all the state parks, to be able to do a Mountaineer Mile, I think is a wonderful goal.
So, are there any state parks that you would like to hit up to walk this Mountaineer Mile, just because of maybe the scenic views, or? Yeah, well, I mean, we have some of the most amazing state parks in the country, so I'm fond of many of them. So I would say that I would love to get down to southern West Virginia. So we know that there are a lot of incredible parks down there. We can go to out to the eastern Panhandle. So there's some incredible parks out there. I mean, I would say that West Virginia has so many amazing things. I was talking yesterday about Watauga State Park. I think that's in Pocahontas County. Little niche places that a lot of people don't know where, but it's the most amazing place to walk around. So, you know, but it doesn't have to be even a state park. It could be over at the Kanawha State Forest. It could be if you're in Parkersburg, you know, you're out there, you can walk in the main square right by the courthouse. I mean, there's no hidden secret to where you're going to walk. Right. So when you do walk, do you listen to something? Or I know you said that sometimes you walk with your wife, so do you talk to her? Like, what is that like?
Sometimes I try to do a little bit of work along the way.
Okay.
So I get on the phone, and sometimes I can walk and talk, and I did that a lot, especially during the campaign. And when I was AG, I was trying to get in that habit of walking around. So, but look, always love listening to good music, and I think that's great. And I think anyone who followed the inaugural, we tried to have some really good bands, and that's a pretty cool thing. And we were able to get to the symphony orchestra recently, so that's always nice as well. I mean, the Capitol grounds look pretty cool.
They do. I know you have a dog. Do you walk the dog with you sometimes?
I do. So he's gaining a little bit of obedience.
Yeah.
So we took him to obedience school because my friend is a great doggy, and we love him. But he really was fond of squirrels and birds.
Oh, there's
and
a
so
lot
you'd
here.
He seems like trying to tear off.
Yeah.
But as he's getting a little bit older, he's starting to get a little bit better. We want everyone to come along. I'm going to try to open this up. Whether it's the CEO of a company or it's the everyday person, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, this is meant for everyone. It's kind of a unifier, right? Because we all need to walk, we all need to exercise and get in shape. So people should come along, and if they see me walking around, come on over, say hello, and walk along with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for doing this today.
This is great.
Really appreciate
Thank you.
it. Yeah.